Yeah, whatever. All right, cool. All right. Afternoon, everybody. So, thanks for coming to this session. We've got Fun with Technology with Carl Benevides from Sauhegan High School in Amherst, New Hampshire. Carl's been teaching instrumental music for 18 years and is currently the Director of Band and Music Technology at Sauhegan High School in Amherst. Carl's been using technology in the classroom since 2002 and has developed a music production and engineering curriculum for students. Carl's presented technology clinics throughout New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and recently presented at the NHMEA All-Eastern Conference in Baltimore. So, without any further ado, Carl Benevides.
Thank you. All right, so those of you that have heard my tech clinics before, this one's going to be a slightly different spin on what we've been doing lately. You know, as Dr. Silver said in his early clinic, it's very, very difficult to keep up with the times with technology. So, you know, if you heard the clinic that I did at Oktoberfest a couple of years ago, this one's going to be a little bit different. What I'd like to first have you do is I'd like to have you come up, and I want to show you what I have set up. So come on up. This is a brand new piece of technology that I actually just kind of got into and absolutely love. I think it's one of the best pieces of technology currently on the market, and it's put out by Presonus. It's called the Presonus StudioLive, and it's basically a digital mixing board, but not completely digital. It's got a lot of analog type features too. But what you can do with it, and I'll show you this as the presentation goes on. What you can do with this tool is just really pretty unbelievable. Talking about, we talked earlier, Dr. Silver talked earlier about recording rehearsals and being able to instantly do things without a lot of extra time, just being able to do things simply with a couple of different clicks. And we're going to show you how to do that with this and show you how we incorporate the Presonus into performing ensemble. Okay, but the one we're doing right now is how do we use this technology in our ensembles at school? Because that's the bottom line, right? Technology is a tool, okay? It doesn't substitute for learning music, but it does augment what we do on a daily basis in class. So I'm just going to go over a few things that I'm doing that works for me right now. And if you care to share how you're using some technology with others in the class too, maybe spur a discussion or a conversation, feel free to do that as well. This is not, I don't want to talk at you, I want to have this be as interactive. If you have questions, shoot them up right away, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Okay? And as far as hardware goes, I just showed you the Presonus StudioLive, and this is the 16.0.2, which means 16 tracks, 2 returns. This doesn't have a lot of the full features of some of their bigger boards. They make a 16.4, which has more places that you can plug microphones into. And then they have a 24 channel as well, which is 24 mic inputs, and pretty much you can do almost anything with this. But we've got the small one just to use it in our classes. And I'll show you how I've done that, how I've not only integrated this into my rehearsals, but how I integrated this into my tech program too. What I would do when we talk about recording options, I'll show you really quick, kind of getting off screen here. So basically the coolest thing about this mixer, the StudioLive, is that it firewires right into your computer. So in other words, anything that's happening on the mixer goes right into the computer. So if I move fader 1, my fader 1 moves. If I move fader 2, fader 2 moves. So if I'm a tactile person and I like moving buttons and faders, I can work here. If I'm more of a computer person, I can work there. So I don't need to be in front of the mixing board. Okay? So it has a StudioLive software package that goes with it, and it connects just with a regular FireWire cable. The computer automatically realizes that that is now your sound input source. So we talk about recording. Let's say you have a couple of mics set up, right? Usually in my class I have a couple of mics set up in front of my room. The great thing about this is it comes with free software. There's a software package that comes with the mixer. It's called Capture, and that's exactly what it does. So all I do is I go down here. This is how fast it is. I go to Capture. There's Capture, create a session, and then you can obviously put it wherever you want, but we'll say NHMEA. Is it still called NHMEA? Okay. No, NAFME, I know the parent would change, but all right. Boom. Hit OK. Good. There's all of my channels. And then all I have to do is say, OK, boom, channel 1. Or let's say I've got my mics in channel 2 and 3. Well, like for example, I've got a vocal mic set up right now, right here. That's coming into 8. 1, 2, 1, 2. So let's arm channel 8. 1, 2, 1, 2. You see the level pop up. 1, 2. Okay, now all I have to do is just hit record. Boom. Okay, now I'm recording. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2, and it's recording the other 2, 2 because I just armed those tracks. So it's recording, and then if I want to hear that back, there we go. Sorry, I didn't have the right thing. Boom. Okay, now I'm recording. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2, and it's recording the other 2, 2 because I've just armed those tracks. So it's record. The great thing is if I have a little reverb that I want to use, which is built right into the Studio Live, it'll record with the reverb. Okay, so if I'm just trying to make a nice recording of a rehearsal, I have my mic set up, I literally just turn around to my computer, open up Capture, hit record, and boom. And I don't have to set up my inputs, the board, or anything like that. It's all, whatever the board is happening on the board is automatically happening in the computer. So that's a really, really great feature. Now, for us music directors, here's the big sales pitch. And one of the things that I'm excited to do. We oftentimes don't have the luxury of having students that run sound for us. And we often, when we have to do a concert, we have to end up set up the sound, get the microphones ready, conduct the concert, and also try to make sure that nothing's feeding back while the kids go up to the mics and are either singing or playing into the mics. Okay? So, I love this. One of the coolest things about this is that another piece of software that comes with it, it's free download, free app, it's called SL Remote. And it remotely controls your Studio Live console from your iPad. So whatever you see on the iPad, you look up on the screen, we pull up the Studio Live. Okay. So if I have my iPad in landscape view, it shows me everything that's on screen. So if I move up channel 4 moves up. And it does the same thing on the mixer. Okay, if I want to unmute it, I unmute it. Okay, so let's say here's my vocalist who's in channel 8, and I'm at the concert, and I don't want the vocal mic on until she's ready to sing. I have my iPad right next to me, and all of a sudden I do, boom, I unmute channel 8, and then let's say she's really loud, okay, well I'll turn that down a little bit. Now if I turn it portrait mode, it gives me everything that's happening on that particular channel. My 2 effects that I'm using, my reverbs, so if I want more reverb, I just control it. Just literally drag it up, drag it down. If I want more sound, if I want to put compression, gating, EQ, let's say there's too much high end in the voice, I can just take that, move it down, and whatever I'm doing on the iPad is completely going through the software, going into the mixer. So if my mixer's in the back of the auditorium somewhere, or in the back of my gymatorium, right, I have complete control, and I'm up with the kids, all I have to do is do all the adjustments on my iPad, and the board follows. So it's an amazing tool. In a professional situation, the way that I use it, in the band that I currently play with, we all have in-ear monitors. So we don't have big wedges on the floor when we're playing. So what happens is, the cool thing about our in-ear monitors is it's all tied into we have the bigger version of the Studio Live that we use on gigs. So what we do is we have this other thing that comes with the Studio Live 2, okay, and it's called QMix. And QMix basically allows me to adjust my mix in my headphones without bothering the band leader at all, or without bothering the sound. I have complete control over my own mix. If I need to hear more bass, I just turn the bass up. Okay, so for example, okay, so let's say my lead vocals is in channel 1. If I need to hear a little bit more of lead vocals, I'll turn it up. Need to hear a little more backing vocals. Okay, here's my bass player right there. I need a little bit more of him. So I have this on, when I have this mounted to one of the speaker poles with a nice little iPad mount. And then I have my headphones in. And so I can control my mix all night long without bothering anybody. And it's just for me, what's in my headphones. If I had a floor wedge in front of me, I could do the same thing too. Whatever's coming out of that floor wedge would be the same thing that was coming out of in-ears. So if you're doing a big show at your school and you've got groups coming in from the outside because you're doing a fundraiser or something, they want monitor mixes and they want, you know, how cool would it be to just give them an iPad and say, hey, control your mix. And the cool thing about this is you being the big user here, you can have them control just their mix so they can't mess with your settings. So you can set it up where they're just controlling their auxiliary mix. So on this board, there's only 4 auxiliaries, so we can only run 4 monitor mixes off this. The bigger board has 6, and then the biggest board has 10. So you can have 10 independent people controlling what they did, all independently. So we did this at school the other day. We had all of this set up in my tech classes. They all had the quartet of guys, guitar, bass, drums, and singer. And I put them in separate mixes, and I gave, one kid had an iPhone, so he downloaded the free app, QMix, and then I hooked him so he was connected to as long as everybody's connected to the same router, that's all that really matters. It has nothing to do with Wi-Fi in the school. It's your own little network within yourself, which is awesome, because you don't have to rely on anybody else. So if you take this anywhere, just bring the router with you. We have it in my band, we have it racked into our rack, so that way we always have our router and everything connects to it, and we all have independent control. A lot of kids have iPhones, iPod touches, iPads these days. So my kids in tech class, they download the free app, boom, next thing you know, they can control their own mix, and that's what we did. We did a cool video with the kids using this technology in the class, which was awesome. And they thought it was really cool because they had their own headphone mix and they could control whatever they wanted. So it's really, really pretty cool technology. So as far as recording rehearsals, it's just as easy as opening up Capture, hitting record, and 2 or 3 button clicks, and you're recording rehearsals. So as long as it's all set up and they're ready to go. So that's a great tool. One of the other tools that I mentioned earlier today is using the Presonus Live, I thought was the Studio Live, which I thought was excellent, was, let's say we want to do those practice loops. Okay, we're doing How High the Moon, or whatever. That's a tune we're working on right now in jazz ensemble with our vocalist. So let's say I can't find the play-along version of that in our key anywhere. So what I'll do is I'll set up my mics around the room. I'll mic the drums, I'll mic the bass, the guitar, the piano, and I'll have them play. Boom, hit Capture. And they're all recording right in. I'll store that. And the nice thing is when you export the audio file, you can export it as WAV, which is your typical PC audio WAV file, or you can export it AIFF, which is the Mac audio interchange file format. Doesn't matter, but a lot of times AIFF files won't open on PCs, so it allows you to save it WAV. Let's say you put a couple of markers in, you do a couple of different tunes. It'll allow you to save just between the markers. It'll allow you to save the whole session. And it'll allow you to save it in, like I said, either WAV or AAF format. If you have the full-blown version of the Studio Live software, the Pro version, it'll actually allow you to save it as an MP3 as well. But this one is just WAV or AIFF. So once I get that done, okay, and again, this doesn't take long. It's long because I'm explaining it. Once you just export the WAV file, it's like How High the Moon background tracks. You have the kids play through the changes, the solo section, 5 or 6 times so they have a nice loop going. And then what I'll do is I'll take that, and we use at school, we use Angel as our school management blackboard type thing where kids can access classes and we can post homework assignments and all that. So what I'll do is I'll put the file of the How High the Moon in the jazz ensemble roster, the class, the course. And I'll have that in the lessons tab, and I'll send each kid a note saying, hey, to play along now for How High the Moon is up. They'll take it home, hopefully at home, and download the play along track and practice the solo section to hopefully be prepared for the next rehearsal. We all know how that works, though. So, but yeah, so I mean, using the Studio Live to do all that cool stuff.